What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Chris Gunther Show. Thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure that you like and share this video. I would greatly appreciate it. I told y'all I'm starting out the year with a bang. Ladies and gentlemen, the iconic, the legendary Mr. Kadeem Hardison. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, bro. How you doing, Chris?
Good. Thank you so much for your time. Let's get right into it. I love that hat, man. That hat is vicious.
Thank you, bro. Got this in Dublin, Ireland.
Yes, sir, man. So
Yeah,
how was your holiday season?
that was fantastic. I don't do much. I like to hang out, be cool, stay with family, eat some food, relax. So it was all
I,
good.
I was doing the same thing. I was trying to lay low with all these, crazy COVID numbers
Yeah.
rising. Like how are you staying safe even in all of these crazy and perilous times?
Well, I live really far from everybody, and my mother likes to joke that I've been preparing for this since the '90s. I stopped going out way back in the day, so I don't really need to go out unless it's to the store or something like that. Big parties, all that stuff, premieres, not really my thing. So I'm lucky enough to like be far away from everybody where I don't have to go there. I mean, I can stay home and be cool.
All the way. I can do the same thing. We all have had a really challenging year. Some of us the last 2 years have been challenging. What was something that 2020 and 2021 taught you about yourself?
Uh, that I can be alone. That I can, you know, I can do without the outside noise. I mean, I can really hunker down and rely on self. Whereas before that, I probably was like, so and so could do it, so and so do it, or help me with this. But for a while here, in the last couple of years, I've had to kind of just do on my own, and it's a good eye-opening lesson.
All of us have learned a lot. I learned that I'm a workhorse, even in the middle of all of this craziness, but I've also learned that it's okay to, take a step back and appreciate the upbringing that I had. Tell us a little bit about your
Mm-hmm.
upbringing. Tell us about, where you're from and, things of that nature.
Yeah, I was born in Brooklyn, pretty much raised by my grandmother and my great grandmother for the first 6 or 7 years. And then my mother and father kind of came in the picture. They were both working. So I was, grandmother, great grandmother kind of kid. And then around 10, moved to New York with my mother, Manhattan, actually, um, with my mother, and pretty much stayed there. Was a bike messenger, had all kind of little acting jobs growing up, starting around 15, and then came to California at 22, started a different world. Pretty much been here ever since.
What made you want to get into acting?
My mother was always like, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do?" From the time I was 6 or 7 years old, and I was like, I don't know." And to get her off my back, I think I told her I wanted to be Spider-Man. And she said, "You want to draw Spider-Man? You want to be Spider-Man?" I said, "I want to draw Spider-Man because I didn't think you could actually be Spider-Man." So she put me in art school, and I learned how to draw, and also learned that those kids were way better than me. And I was at the back of the pack and was like, "Yeah, I want to be Spider-Man. What do you do for that?" And she put me in acting school, and then next thing you know, here I am.
You've done a lot in your acting career. There's no way that we can have you here without hitting on the role that you are most known for, Dwayne Wayne in A
Yeah,
Different World. How did you book that a role?
that was another audition. I was in California. We had just finished school days, and I was in California visiting some friends, and I got a call. Oh no, I knew that Lisa was doing a spinoff of the Cosby Show. I did a guest spot on the Cosby Show a year or two before, so I met her and got to be friends. So I went down to visit the taping of the new show, which was the spinoff, A Different World, and I saw it and I was like, yeah, that could use some oomph. Like it's not quite there yet, but I see what they're going for, and I like they got three girls in college life, yada yada. And then a couple of weeks later, I got a call. They need some oomph for that show. They got a role you can audition for. And I auditioned maybe 4 or 5 times. And final call was just me. Usually, final audition, they have two options or three options or four options. So they got this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. The final one was just me. And I looked around. I was like, where's everybody else? It was like, it's just you. I was like, oh, yeah, it's in the bag right now. So, yeah, I went in, I auditioned, killed them in the room, and got the job.
In terms of, preparation, what were some of the things that, helped you prepare for your role as Dwayne?
Nothing. He was a nice guy, a young guy, college age guy. He liked girls. Yeah, what preparing would you have to do?
Just be yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of, know your lines basically and commit. Like the only the main difference between us was he had a lot more patience with things than I did at the time. I was a little more, ready to shoot off, and he was much calmer, which was easy, which was hard at the beginning because I was so nervous and I didn't know how to channel that nervous energy into something productive. And I just thought, now we got to, instead of fighting it, because one thing about acting is you can't fight what you feel. If you're
Right.
feeling sad that day and you got to shoot a happy scene, you're going to have to shoot that happy scene with a little bit of sadness. So I took those nerves, this nervous energy I had, and just turned it into his personality. It just was like, okay, well, yeah, he's patient, but let him be nervous. Let him be nervous around girls. Let him be nervous around everything. Let him, just be a little unsettled. And then as time grew or as time went on, he became more settled and he grew up and came way down. So it was a nice journey to see him, start here and land over here.
As the show continued, because originally it was written for Lisa Bonet and her character, but then her character was written off of the show, and the show became a focus on your character, Jasmine Guy's character, and just the importance of Black colleges. Did you know at the time that the show was going to be as iconic as it became?
Now there's no way that there were no likes and no clicks and no viral. There was no internet. So there was no way for us to know that the people in North Carolina dug us, much less, iconic. Like, yeah, we just wanted to go to work and do a good job every day. And, we could see that the Nielsen ratings, they would tell us those numbers and say, oh, yeah, you guys are, but they'd always kind of blame it on the fact that we had Cosby as a lead in. So instead of giving us any credit for holding it down, they would say, well, yeah, we could put a monkey behind Cosby and it'll do well because it's behind Cosby. Nobody wants to turn the channel from this great show to skip over this show to then to come back to whatever they got in Cheers and whatever they had on after us. So we had this cushy spot, so to speak, and that was the reasoning for a lot of our success in the beginning. So we had no idea what was really going on, what the people felt until 30 years later.
30 years later, you continue to get work and you continue to, elevate, but people still constantly have to refer to you back as the guy that you played 30 years ago. How does that feel for you to know that the work that you did 30 years ago continues to get praised?
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's like I can't hear enough that some grandmother stopped me at the grocery store or at the gas station and say, my baby wants to be an engineer because of you. Like, or people now say, I am an engineer because of you. I went to an HBCU because of what you guys did. It never gets old. It's that's what you kind of want to do. You want to leave something that'll inspire others in some way. And sometimes you get lucky. You just you just wake up in the morning and fall into it. You work hard at being an actor, being a good actor, but landing in the right role at the right time that says the right thing and has the right people behind it, the right cast with you and all of that, for it to all come together and then be iconic is it's pretty lucky. So yeah, I just feel, thankful and blessed about it.
Everybody has a trademark. Michael Jackson had the moonwalk. Michael Jordan had the tongue out, and you had
Yeah.
the flip up glasses. First of all, like what made you decide to wear those?
And Beats, rest in peace, who was our initial executive producer. 2 days before we shot the first episode, I think she went to a Bowie concert and she saw either his drummer or his bass player had these weird glasses on. And so she found them, dug them up, and presented them to me the day before we shot. And was like, hey, what do you think of these glasses? Would you wear them, on the show? And I was like, let me see. Yeah. I just wanted to hide. I thought, first of all, the character wasn't nearly as cool as I wanted him to be. he's from Brooklyn, which I made sure I fought for that. But the clothes were weird, and I had the right sneakers. I fought for that. But the clothes were weird, and the things he was saying was weird, and it was very unlike me, and I was nervous about the whole shit. So I was like, you know what? Let me get glasses and a hat and all kind of stuff that I can kind of bury myself in it and hopefully create something that'll blossom into something else. Because I wasn't very confident in that first season about the direction we were going. So yeah, it's fun.
Even though you may have not been as confident as the first season went on, the show in general lasted 6 seasons. The 90s in general, you had all those great sitcoms. You had Yourself, you had Living Single, you had The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you had Martin. Where do you feel A Different World ranks in terms of the sitcoms in the 90s?
I didn't watch a lot when I was, back then. I couldn't watch A Different World. I didn't really enjoy watching me on screen. It's been a long time since. So I really stopped. I don't watch stuff that I'm in until like 10, 20 years later. So, because then you can go back and kind of have a more fond memory than the stressed out, oh, shoot, I missed that. Oh, I could have did this better. I could have, because that's all really watching yourself on television is. You'll see when you watch this back, you'll be like, oh, what did I do on my face? I should have had microphone. Look, we just kind of obsess over that. So I had to wait a long time before I can go back and watch it. But if I had to rank them, I just follow the people. The people seem to love Martin, Fresh Prince, and A Different World. Kind of interchangeable. 1, 2, and 3. I like stuff like Rock, Frank's Place. Yeah, I think it was viral a year or so, a couple of years ago. People were doing their top 10 Black sitcoms, and I put or top 5, and I put mine up, and everybody was mad because I didn't have Different World in the top 10. I was like, yeah, but I was on that. That don't count. Like of all time, we're talking of all time Black sitcoms. So I was like, the Jeffersons got to be there. Good Times got to be there. There's a whole bunch of joints that influenced me and meant something to me differently than what I was on. So it was kind of funny, but I really, that's a long way of saying I got no ranking for you, bro. You can put it any way you like it.
I gotta put y'all in there though, man, because look at what you guys were able to do. You influenced an entire generation. First of all, to even get an education, to go to college. That is what your character, Dwayne, was all about. He was all about, brothers getting educated. He was all about the sisters holding self-respect. So to see, even though that was a fictional character, it had a significant impact and it had a significant influence. Like I'm in my 20s and I got hit to A Different World by watching Netflix. I'm like, yo, wait a minute. Like I remember this on Nick at Night, but then I started watching it and I was like, yo, I can relate to this.
Yeah. It was well written, well designed, well thought out, brilliantly casted, acted. Like I give us props for doing that. And if you want to say, who had the most cultural relevance, it would have to be A Different World because of what we did for HBCUs at the time. So yeah, let the kids fight over it
though. What was, because one of my favorite episodes from the show is when you and Ron were trying to kidnap Whitley for her 21st birthday. And when Ron falls, he goes, was she really naked? That's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. So what was one of your favorite episodes from the show?
Oh God, for different reasons, and my own reasons, Cats in the Cradle, where we had to kind of, we got locked up with the white boys and they tried to spray the N-word on Shorty's car and we got into a fight and yada yada. And then we told 2 different sides of the same story. In our version, they were this type of person, these kind of white dudes, and in their version, we were these kind of Black dudes. So, and the truth was somewhere in between. That one was one of the first ones where we got to do a little action, a little buddy cop, buddy movie, and some drama, and some realness, like, so that one there for strictly for acting purposes, that one's always fun for me to watch. What else? I love the second season, the date rape episode, where Timac came on
Mm-hmm.
and was chasing Freddie around, and we had that was important, and yeah, I like those. I like mine tend to be a little darker. No, the wedding one is not in the top anything for me. I shouldn't even mentioned it just to do that to everybody,
You
but I
know,
did. I messed up.
it's crazy that you mentioned wedding because I just got married and I was hoping, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Shout out to the wife. One time for the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
time. You know what I'm saying? But I was just hoping that at our wedding, nobody tried to pull a Dwayne Wayne. I was hoping and praying that
And
that didn't happen.
right. And if it did, you would have stomped him out. You and your boys would have stomped him out. He would have never
Oh
made it out of there alive.
man, at all. And then they would
So
have
you
had to call.
see, so you see the dilemma I was in. Like, how am I gonna actually do this to this dude without knowing that a brawl is gonna happen? I'm gonna get stomped in the wine after this. Like, I can't do this. Yeah, it was hard to commit to.
But here's what I love about that scene. Your boy had your back through everything. That's what I'm
Whole
talking about.
time. Get off him. Let him go. Let him go.
That's
You
what
can
you
barely
call
see his
him.
little nose jumping up. Get off. Get off him. Let him
Oh.
go, man. Yeah, that's my man.
And that's great to see that you guys are still close. You've had
Yeah.
such a phenomenal career. You've worked with a lot of great people. How blessed are you to sit back and reflect and say, wow, I really worked with all of these amazing people?
Every day I think, wow, I really got to do a bunch of amazing things. And shout out right now to Sidney Poitier, who passed away today. I got to work with his daughter, and that meant I got to meet him, or I was gonna meet him, and I was so nervous to meet him because I wanted to, like Eddie Murphy was like the king,
Oh yeah.
but he was somebody I could call and go over his house and hang out and eat with and laugh with. So it was kind of he was on the king level, where it's somebody you could still like, even though he lived way up in the castle, you could get to that castle, you could get in that castle. Sidney Poitier was a god. He was unreachable. You couldn't. He was just somebody you heard about and you'd seen, but you'd never seen him in person. It was hard to believe he was even real. He was so fantastic. So yeah, so I worked with his daughter and got to meet him, and just in today and thinking about him, I remember the first time we met. Um, Usually I don't really trip over lines and all of
Mhm.
that. So, while everybody's, rehearsing their lines, I pretty much got it in my head. I know what I'm going to say. Sometimes I'm going to change some things. Sometimes I'm just going to see what feels right. Weird. Doesn't work for everybody. But the day Sidney came to the show, I was pacing the hallways, learning my line, looking over my shit like, something. Oh God, okay. I'm gonna meet him. Eventually, he'll be here. Probably meet him after the show. I'll just, keep walking the hallway and just kind of get this part down. I want to get this part down. I don't want to mess this part up in front of Sidney. And I'm walking through the hallway, and there he is coming towards me. And I immediately tensed up, and I walked up to him, and I was trying not to like stop because I wanted to get these lines right, or just one section right. But I had to stop because it was him, and I saw him. And I said, thinking in my head, okay, introduce yourself, and then tell them, you're having a good time working with Sidney, and enjoy the show. And what came out of my mouth was, "We go do the thing," and and then I just kind of kept walking, and I heard from behind me, "Well, you better do it then." And, oh man, and that was Sidney Poitier. That was me meeting him, and that lifted me off the ground 10 feet when he spoke, even though I was trying not to look like I just knew I just said the wrong thing. Like, what did I say? And I just was like, just get away from him, just keep walking, and just maybe it didn't happen, maybe it was a dream, and you'll wake up and everything will be all right. And a couple of steps later, I heard, well, you better do it then. And I was like, holy cow. So yeah, I can't even go over all the times I felt incredibly lucky and blessed to have worked with the people I've worked with and been around and just met the people I've met. it's still a trip. It still makes me look outside and go, yeah, this is real. This is not this really happened. This has been 40 years of chasing this girl, and she still likes me. So yeah.
And it's worked for you too. In that
Yeah.
40-year career, you have met a lot of people, you've worked with a lot of people, you've been on set with a lot of people, such as the late great Sidney Poitier, Michael Jackson, Eddie Murphy, all of those incredible icons. And now you're paying it forward. You have a new show coming out on AMC. Can you hit on that for a little bit?
Wow. Yeah. Moonhaven. As I told you, my mother, she, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And my first thing was, I want to be Spider-Man, which was make believe, super play. And here for the first time, I'm doing something sci-fi. And I grew up loving Star Trek, Star Wars, all that science fiction, but never got a chance to act in anything sci-fi. So this is Moonhaven. I play Arlo Noon, who's a detective on the moon. 300 years from now, um, the Earth is in shambles, and people have been colonizing the moon and turned it into a utopia that they can live and sustain themselves with a technology. But the technology, to use the technology, you have to learn the culture. You have to live a certain way. So the plan is to make a bridge to come back to Earth, teach the culture, and then bless them with technology. And that's all I can tell you.
I was about to dive into that a little bit more, but you said that's all we can. All
Yeah,
right, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go.
That's
But
all I can tell you. I might have told you too much, but I think that's all I can do. I think I was safe there.
nah, that is perfectly fine. Before we get up out of here, like I had said, you were talking about you paying it forward. You were featured on the Disney Channel, and a special young lady had a chance to play your daughter. How much fun was that?
Oh man, that was a big game changer. That was a role that I wasn't interested in. I wasn't really interested in being on the Disney Channel. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to curse or bleed or do anything that make acting fun for me. This is gonna be a nightmare. And so I kind of blew up. I kind of kind of phoned in the first audition, and I was going back to New York. And when I got to New York, I went and visited my brother and my sisters, and they were asking, so what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? And I was like, they asked me, to come in and read with this for this kid Zendaya or something like that. And from my 30-year-old sister down to my 6-year-old niece, they all lit up like, Zendaya? No, no, no! You have to do that. You have to do that. I was like, what's a Zendaya, first of all? And they were like, no, that girl is going places. You have to get on there. You have to get on. I was like, really? But it's Disney Channel. I ain't really, nah. So I went back and did another reading. And then we all got in a room together, me, Z, Tammy, and Camille, that we were put together as one group for the family read. And when we read in the room for the producers with Z in the mix, it just took off. It was like, this is the family. If they don't pick these 5 right here, they've kind of lost their minds. And yeah, and she's been, like the perfect ace / little sister that I can watch out for and watch her, going through the same kind of things I was going through, only on a much bigger scale, because they got followers now. What the hell is followers? Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I can't even tell you how what a blessing that was, that I went back and listened to the sisters and nieces and got the part, and and met her, and we'll be friends forever, because she's my ace 2020.
Yeah,
My
the ace.
millennial ace. Yeah, the millennial ace, I guess. Yeah.
And she's continuing her career. Spider-Man just came out. I understand you're a huge Marvel fan. What did you think of it?
Yeah. I loved it. I just went and saw it for the second time last night. Was sitting in there crying and shit. It was crazy. I loved it. I've seen all the Spider-Mans before, so this was kind of a perfect culmination of everything coming together. I knew what they were going for, and I was really scared because we just saw a version of this movie that was Oscar worthy with
Sure
the
did.
Into the Spider-Verse, the animated version, the Miles Morales one. That was Oscar worthy. That won an Oscar. So going back to the Spider-Verse, kind of, a year later in live action, after these dudes just did it perfectly, I was like, oh, this is gonna be. I'm scared for this one. Like I like the first couple of, but I'm really scared that it's gonna be hard to pull off, and they pulled it off. I thought it was great.
I did too. This has been a lot of fun. Before we get out of here, because I understand you're a very busy man,
Yeah.
before we jet, in terms of your career, you have done so much. You are definitely a legend for the culture. What advice would you give to someone like myself that is out here really grinding and doing things, basically trying to elevate to the next level?
As long as you love it, don't give up. Because there'll be some times, there'll be some hot. I equate it to a girl that you like, that you're chasing. And you remember that little thing we do with the daisy? She loves me, she loves me not, she loves me, she loves me not. There's gonna be a lot of she loves me nots in there where you're gonna feel like, am I doing the right thing? But as long as you love it, you can get to another she loves me and keep going. You just gotta, you can't stop. Like if you believe it, then you have to go until you don't believe it, until you really, have completely exhausted everything and you can't do anymore, or you don't feel like it. As soon as it's not fun, you got to get out. As soon as it starts to hurt too bad, you got to get out, because there's going to be some pains. But yeah, on the acting side, make sure your agent knows you. If you get an agent, when you get an agent, all of that, make sure they know you so that they can help you pick the stuff that you like, instead of just everything that comes along throwing it at you. Once you get tight with your team, they'll know. Nah, he's not gonna like this. We can send it to him anyway, but he's not gonna like this. This is the one. This is the one that's gonna move him, and he's gonna get off his ass, and he's gonna go get it. You want your people to know you like that, so that y'all can all be on the same page. Yeah, don't quit is the biggest one. And a long time ago, great director Stan Lathan wrote on my script after the first project we did together, which was kind of like my second gig or my first gig he cast me. He wrote, "Success is a journey, not a destination." So you kind of have to enjoy the experience the whole way. Just wherever you pointing in that direction, go in that direction and enjoy everything along the way. You'll get there. You just have to enjoy the journey. You can't be like, I quit. We caught a flat, or man, we ran out of gas. No, fill it up, pump it up, keep going.
I appreciate that. Last two questions, and I promise you, I'm on my way out. Last two questions. You are a legend. You've done so many iconic things. I hope you've enjoyed this interview. Who would you like to see me interview next? And if you have any connect, or if you could help a young brother out, would you be able to do that?
You should. It seems like, where are you from?
Youngstown, Ohio.
Ohio. For some reason, Dawn Lewis popped in my head. Like, she's good at this. When we all go out on tour together and something, and talk to the HBCUs, Dawn, Jasmine, Shorty, Cree, they're the better talkers. I slip in some jokes and keep it moving.
Just
And
duck it down. It's like,
pass it off to them, and then slip in a couple of jokes, and then slip and in another joke. Any of the old crew would be, they'd have a good time talking to me.
Well, trust me, I'm a man of my word. I'm gonna shoot my shot with all of them, and I hope that they hit your boy back. Before we jump off of here, if anybody wanted to connect with you or follow you on social media, how can they do that?
Kadeem Hardison on Instagram. I think I'm Kadeem Hardison on Twitter. Facebook is blah. It's toxic. Every time I turn that shit on, is people mad at each other. But Instagram and Twitter mainly. My name, Kadeem Hardison.
Appreciate it. Nothing else needs to be asked. Ladies and gentlemen, Kadeem Hardison on the Chris Gunther Show. Be sure y'all like and share this video. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, brother.